Hello BookTube and welcome to Writing Wednesday. I haven't done one of these in a month or two. To be honest, I haven't really made much progress. Nothing that I really feel should be worthy of a writing update video, particularly one once a week. I am planning on doing something for like the build up for NaNoWriMo starting next week, where I'll basically go through how I'm hopefully going to do the prep work, decisions, research, all of that for my NaNoWriMo project. See how that goes. It might be fun. It might be incredibly tedious. I might run out of steam and decide to bail on the whole project. You know, we'll see how it goes. So where am I at on my current writing projects? I lost a lot of steam with regards to Akarsha the Sorcerer. I just lost interest in the project. Although my interest has started to peak back up again. But I have realized that while I have basically the idea for the plot, I know what the plot is. I know the pieces of the plot, the progression. I know the characters. I know how they fit into the plot, their arcs and all of that, but I don't know the world. I haven't done enough research and world building to really make a decent setting for this project. And I'm kind of slowly building up the world building and doing the research and really getting around to researching those subjects that I need to research. I've mentioned earlier in this year researching pottery and sculpting, or pottery sculpting, or whatever you call it. It's basically you sculpt with clay. So it's kind of a mix of sculpture and clay, or sorry, it's a mixture of pottery and sculpting that I need to do more research on. I'm not entirely happy with the research I've done, and I really need to do some more. Also, the kind of the political inspirations I'm drawing from, and historical inspirations I'm drawing from, I haven't really done as much research there as I should have. I am doing quite a bit, and obviously, several books I've been reading in the past few months have really been eye-opening in how I've been thinking about the world building this particular setting. So that's very positive, and really reigniting my passion for this project. I'm not entirely sure, because I think when I left off my last writing update, I mentioned thinking this probably would be more of a novella or a series of short stories, and it might still work out that way. I'm still kind of wanting to do this as a novel. I don't know for sure, though. I guess it all depends on how things turn out. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a particularly long novel. Certainly not. I mean, Sword and Sorcery should never be long. I mean, it might be like a short novel, novella. I mean, of course, given the fact that in science fiction and fantasy, novellas are about 200 pages long, probably up to 250, 300 pages now. So, yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind. So, what about my other projects? I've been doing some work on Scorpius. I'm quite enjoying where I've got there. Probably need to start thinking about what I need to research to do some more world building. But I have roughly like the plots I want to do, the characters. I'm adding more characters, though. Need to find roles and power sets and all of that for them. And for those of you who don't know, Scorpius is my superhero project. And then I've also made a lot of headway with the Fates of Chaos that I'm really excited about. And it really turned on me kind of thinking about the gods and what I'm going to be drawing on for inspiration for my mythology. So that was pretty exciting and interesting, and I'm looking forward to hitting that back up. In fact, I think I've really determined most of what the plot is going to be for the Fates of Chaos. That said, I think the Fates of Chaos will be joining Scorpius as needing to be some form of comic book. Probably drawing heavily on manga as well, but definitely a comic book. So that raises whole sorts of other problems I'll have to figure out, namely the art. I'm a decent beginner pastelist. Obviously you can see behind me, some of those paintings are significantly better than others. This one here I'm not terribly fond of at all. Anyway, but I'm not really very good at drawing. I've tried my hand at it several times and it's not my strongest suit. Unfortunately, I probably really should devote a lot more time to practicing it, but the war of books and art. As I've said, well, it's war of books and pastels, but in this case it's the war of books and, well, really it would be the war of reading and art. But anyway, so yeah, that's one thing I need to think about ultimately, is either trying to reformulate my ideas as somehow making them novels, or just doing like basically like a comic book script and treating it sort of like those old plays before. I think they're called closet dramas, where they're plays, but they're not meant to be performed on the stage. They're meant to be read, or to be performed in sort of like a group reading situation rather than actually performed on the stage. Something like that if I either don't build up the art skills or can't find somebody to do the art. Anyway, so I'm probably going to spend the rest of this month trying to work on world building and all of that for these 3 projects, and then starting in September I'm going to start seriously thinking about NaNoWriMo. I know what I want to do, I have the rough idea, but I'm going to work it through on YouTube in my writing update videos, because, well, I know kind of what I want to do, but I don't know what direction I want to go in. I have some fantasy ideas, one that would be a contemporary or urban fantasy, since I think urban fantasy is largely taken over from contemporary regarding fantasy set in the real world. I'm kind of calling it like a fantastic realism or realistic fantasy. There's also a secondary world fantasy idea that's kind of could work off of my idea I have, or maybe a more realistic work that eschews any form of fantastic period. So we'll see, and I'll talk about that at length next week. So yeah, I think that's all I have. Sorry for all the rambling. I do tend to ramble on these videos. So anyway, I'll sign off for now. I'll hopefully have a video up tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure what I want to post tomorrow. Excuse me. And then on Friday, I will have a book haul. Get the books ready for the book haul, and obviously weekly reads. So until then, BookTube, I will see you tomorrow, and have a great afternoon, and please stay safe. There's the ongoing pandemic. There are the protests, which are still ongoing, even though barely covered. And of course, there's also a hurricane bearing down on the Texas-Louisiana border. So please stay safe. Thank you, BookTube.